Let's do this right this time. Welcome back everyone, Dog Walker here. Today on the channel I'll be going over why I have switched to soft flasks for running. Now, if we could turn back time, go back many years ago when I was a long distance triathlete, everyone and their dog in the late 1990s, early 2000s had a fuel system called the fuel belt. Put the image up on the screen. Now, what the fuel belt was a belt that went around your waist, and it had these little flasks that you could fit in, and you had anywhere from 2 of these little flasks. You had a 4 flask belt, you had a 6, and then you had this big monster called the Terminator, which 8 flasks around the waist. Now, everybody and their dog in Ironman distance triathlon had one of these, and many marathoners in the late 1990s, early 2000s had these fuel belts. Now, they were a great fuel delivery system because in each one of the little flasks you could put in Gatorade in one, you put Red Bull, uncarbonated Red Bull or Coke or water, or you mix it up, so you put your electrolyte drink in one, and you had lots of different options, or you just felt just plain water. And each one of these flasks hold about 8 ounces, I believe, and they were great because you could see how much you had in the little flask, and you knew how many you had around your waist, and then you could refill as the race went on, or when you're out there training. Now, the only problem I had with the fuel belt is that partway through a race, especially when it's a hot marathon, that feeling around your waist was very uncomfortable, especially if your belly starts to distend, as it will do sometimes in long distance events. So I remember on different occasions seeing my wife on the side viewing me do an Ironman, and I just take the belt off and just throw it to her because my stomach would stick out so much and it'd be just very uncomfortable around your waist. So that's where I started with carrying my own fluids. Before that, you would have to go out and carry a bottle in your hand, or you would stop at drink fountains along the way, stash water along the way, whatever it was. But it was nice to have something that was on your person. So fast forward a few years and I get into the trail and ultra world in the early 2010s, and everybody and their dog had a backpack system, like a Camel. I think Camelback was one of the originators of the backpack system. Now, with this backpack system, you had a bladder in the back that held anywhere from 1 to 3 liters, had a hose coming up around, had a little bite valve, much like what you see here on this soft flask, and you just reach over, drink from the bite valve. It's a great system because you could carry a ton of water back there. 3 liters is quite a bit, and it's very convenient having it on your back. You don't have to worry about holding it in your hands or anything like that. But I found a few problems with that backpack system. Number one, you couldn't tell how much you had in the bladder as you were drinking. So you go out for your 2, 3, 4, whatever hour run, hike, mountain bike, whatever you want to do, and you really can't tell how much you have in the backpack. So you drink along, drink along, drink along. You would finish a run or mountain bike or hike or whatever, and sometimes you would open up your backpack and you go, well, I have half of it left. Didn't drink enough water. Or other times you'd be out drinking constantly, because you do have that. It's nice to have that there because it's kind of a reminder to drink. But then you'd run out of water because you really weren't sure, unless you could just hear the sloshing. And that's, for me, that's not an effective system. Another problem with having the bladder in the back is that to clean it is a royal pain. You have to get a special bottle brush to go inside the tube and the bite valve, and you got to clean out the bladder itself, air it out properly. So what I would do is take the bladder off and set it on top of a cylinder of some sort, put it outside or in the sink and let it air dry that way. So it's just a very inconvenient system. It's nice to have it on the back, for sure. That's a definite plus. You can carry lots of fluid, but to clean it is a pain, and I found that I really didn't have a good gauge on how much I was drinking. Now, one other disadvantage, in my opinion, for the backpack system, the CamelBak, etc., lots of different companies make them, is that you can only put one type of fluid in there. So if you put in water, that's fine. But if you want to put in something like an electrolyte drink, Gatorade, whatever you want to drink, Tailwind or whatever it happens to be, you can't switch out frequently. So then, in about 4 years ago, I switched over to something called soft flask because I saw a lot of people using these soft flasks. Here's an example. This one is from Amazon. This is what I originally started with. Then I went out and bought some of these ones. These are made by a company called Hydro-Pak, which makes the Salomon ones, by the way. So with these flasks, soft flasks, they're a very soft, pliable, almost like a rubber type material. I know it's not rubber, it's a type of probably thermoplastic, I believe, or I'm not sure the exact type of plastic it is. But these things, you can buy them for anywhere from, I believe, about 150 milliliters all the way up to, this one's a 600 milliliter flask. And these flasks, they fit in your trail vest, or you can shove them in your backpack or whatever. And they're very lightweight. And you can have different types of nozzles. So this is an extension nozzle. Put this one on the end here, and then you put it in the front of your backpack, and you have the straw easily accessible right here. And then as you drink, these things shrink down. So you reach over and have a drink, and they shrink down, and they don't bounce around. So that's definitely an advantage of having this type of system. So what are some other reasons I like these soft flasks? Well, another reason is that they are easy to clean. They're not as easy as cleaning a cup that you can throw in the dishwasher, because you're not going to do that. But for these soft flasks, they're very easy to rinse out and dry out. And for this one, the hose, yeah, it's a bit of a pain to clean the hose. You have to take the top off, like so, take it apart, clean the bite valve, because it's very important to clean the bite valve. And same as on this type of nozzle on the end. But it's a lot easier to clean than the CamelBak, because it's the biggest part about the CamelBak. You have that long hose that you have to put the bottle brush in, and it's a pain to keep that thing clean, especially if you put in something other than water. If you put in water, it's not as bad, but if you put in anything like a Gatorade, oh, all bets off. It's hard to keep clean. Another advantage of having the soft flask is that you can mix and match. So in one of your flasks, you can put water. In the other one, you can put your electrolyte drink or pickle juice or Guinness beer, whatever you're going to put in. You can mix, you can put two different ones in. So that way, you know that you're going to keep water on the one side, or you can keep water on both. You're drinking water from the one side, and then you switch off. So then when you rotate through, because you can carry many of these empty ones, put them in the backpack. It's great to have the spares so that you can swap out. Or if you were in an ultra race, have a couple of these in an aid station, a drop bag, have them full of the fluids that you're going to use, and just swap them out. So they're very easy to switch between different types of drinks. And if you put Gatorade or something like that in one of these, I would mark with a Sharpie on that Gatorade, so that you know that every time you go to use this one, that's all you're putting in it, because it will leave a little bit of a residue. So that's something that will happen. And the residue will happen with any type of system that you have. Any type of plastic will leave some type of taste eventually. Some plastics are better than others. These Hydro-Paks are actually very good at not leaving that much of a taste. This knockoff that I got from Amazon, yeah, it has a little bit of a plastic taste. So I would honestly stay away from this specific type of flask. Spend the extra few dollars and get either the Hydro-Pak or the Salomon. Now, with the Salomon specifically, with newer flasks, you can get a water filter. I'll put it up on the screen there. And the water filter takes the place of the nozzle and the end on this, and you just put the water filter in. So that's a great thing to have if you're out in the trail, out in the woods, or anywhere where you have access to water. You can just dip it in the stream or put it in the fountain and then filter out the water using the water filter that you can buy specifically for the diameter of the opening on this flask. So those are the reasons why I switched to a soft flask. Now, there are a couple of drawbacks. One is cleaning, as I mentioned, and the other one, it's like a George Costanza thing with a little bit of shrinkage. So as you drink from these flasks, they shrink down, which is great. But when you get to a point where a lot of the water's gone and it's only half full, if you happen to pull it out just to see how much water you have left in it, then you go to pop it back in, and when it's mostly full like it is now, it works great. But then when you get to a point where you're about a quarter full and you're going to put it back in, the flexible material is nice, but then it's just hard to shove it back in, because a lot of times in these front pockets in any type of trail running vest is that you have a lot of stuff jammed in here. You have your gels and other things, food items, you have cell phone, whatever it is that you have in there. So when this pocket is full, or this pocket's full, you go to take one of these flasks, you push it back in. It can be a bit of a pain to push in there. So that's just something to consider if you're looking to switch over to soft flasks. And I put this video out because the first time I put this one out on YouTube, and it was a little bit different than the prior one, but for some reason the audio was way off and it drove me crazy. Couldn't find a way to fix it. So I thought, I'm just going to scrap it. I'm just going to do a whole new video on soft flasks. So I hope you enjoyed this and got a little bit of useful information, and possibly consider switching over to soft flasks. I have no affiliation with any of these products. I think that these things just work great. I carry two on me on runs. Even if I go on a short run, I can use this vest and put one in on a short run. And then for longer ones, I can carry two on the front and then put a couple of spares in the back, either filled or leave them empty. It's your choice. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Again, I hope that you learned a few things about using soft flasks, and I would highly recommend you switch over if you're involved in any type of long trail runs, ultra racing, and all that kind of stuff, because I think they're great. I would give them 2 big thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel because it really helps us out here, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Peace.